Alright, welcome back. We're gonna watch the Mariana Trench. Who is this by? By National World Facts. In Pursuit of the Abyss. Some kind of documentary about the trench. Motherfucker, we live in the trench.
The deep sea is a world
We in them
of
trenches.
extremes. So far in this series, we've taken a look at the ways in which animals have adapted to survive in the
We're clearly
cold,
late
dark
in
depths.
this series.
We've explored the ecosystems of this unforgiving realm and seen how communities of life cling to whatever source of energy they can find, from vents of superheated water to the carrion of sunken whales. But now it's time to dive even deeper and discover a
Dive
place
even
where life
deeper.
is pushed to its absolute limits. For at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, the sea floor widens into a gaping abyss
Can I have a
of
cookie?
obscurities. Fish that seem to lack
While
faces,
I watch my documentary.
sprawling fields of bacteria,
One cookie, please.
and
Am I yelling?
giants that resemble life from
I
another
have headphones
planet.
on. Can't hear.
Let's take a closer look.
Oh my god,
at
he
the
has his
hidden
AirPods in.
world of the Mariana Trench.
The Marinara. My eyes hurt so bad. I have allergies. It's seasonal allergies. My eyes are killing me right now. I'd totally
The
live underwater,
infamous Mariana Trench
but I wouldn't have to feel
sits
pollen.
like a crescent-shaped dent in the floor of the Pacific.
Think there's pollen
A
underwater? Can be.
2,550 kilometer long,
Right?
69
There's no way that there's pollen
kilometer
underwater.
wide fracture that plummets down into a pure black void.
It would sink down. It's too
At the
heavy.
bottom, it hosts the deepest known location on Earth, the Challenger Deep, 11,033 meters or 36,200 feet.
The deepest
beneath
location in the world is called the
waves.
Challenger Deep.
The
Funny.
trench itself is but one part of a global network of deep scars that cut across the
Shit can't
ocean
explode.
floor. Features that formed from a process called subduction. In the case of the Mariana Trench,
Nothing's
the
deeper
western
in your
edge
ass.
of the Pacific plate was thrust beneath the smaller Mariana plate to the
Hey,
west,
don't laugh at that.
creating the deep
Baby laughing at that
fracture.
joke.
Molten material then rose through volcanoes near the trench, building the nearby Mariana Islands.
She's watching Blue's Clues and this. She doesn't like that this is playing while
At
Blue's
its
Clues is
deepest
playing.
point, the Mariana Trench dips
Confusing her.
down into a little explored zone of the ocean. The Hadal Zone, named after the realm Hades, the underworld of Greek mythology. A suitable title for a place where the conditions of pure darkness, acidic, freezing water, scarce food, and immense pressure create a challenging environment for creatures to survive in. For much of history, it was believed to be a dead zone, void of any life at all. An impossible frontier, and an empty void of perils that could never be reached by any human.
To be fair, how would they know that there was anything there until like recently where we could finally go down deep enough? Think fucking Socrates was like, yeah, there's definitely shit down there.
But
Dude's
in
not
the
even real.
19th century, this was
Look it
all
up.
about to change. The Marianas' depths were first plumbed in 1875, when the crew aboard the HMS Challenger cast a weighted sounding line over the side of the
Hey,
vessel
sounding?
and found they needed
I know what
more
that is.
rope.
I've
They had not
Googled.
expected there to be a location so deep, but news of its discovery caught the eye of the ambitious. Knowing it existed simply wasn't enough, and a few dared to venture to the bottom. In 1960, 85 years after the Challenger Deep was discovered on that pioneering voyage,
I know this is like super hard to think about because it seems impossible, but someday in like the near future, someone will be able to like deep dive into the Challenger Deep as in like a person in a suit, will be able to go down there without any external items like a submarine or some shit. He'll just be able to dive down there.
Two men set out
Watch.
to reach the bottom.
We'll probably be dead by then, but you know, I'm just saying.
Jacques Picard and Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh, sheltered only by a cramped
Picard.
half-escape submersible called the Trieste. Their 5-hour descent was fraught with challenges. The water pressure near the bottom was nearly 1,000 times greater than atmospheric pressure at sea level. During the journey, this caused the viewing window to crack, limiting their time spent on the sea floor to only 20 minutes.
It's a submarine, Amaya. A submarine.
Even in such a short amount of time, what they saw would shock the scientific community.
They see,
Life,
dude.
pale shrimp, and flounder-like fish, along with what they described
these
as a
motherfuckers
dark
ain't getting no
brown
sun.
diatomaceous
Hella
ooze
pale.
that covered the sea floor. Picard described this moment with excitement in a book about the
Picard.
voyage. Here, in an instant, was the answer that biologists had asked for the decades. Could life exist in the greatest depths of the ocean? It could. When James Cameron followed in the Trieste's footsteps on board the Deep-Sea Challenger in 2012, he too saw the sprawling microbial mats. Bizarre-looking filamentous clumps of microorganisms living off chemicals from altered rocks.
Bro, what was James Cameron doing
10,912
down there?
meters, or 35,803 feet down in a sunless world. It is these bacteria that support
Sorry,
more
I'm
complex
slurping.
creatures. For without sunlight, larger animals must instead
Just saying,
rely on the
what was he
energy
doing down there?
produced by
Yeah.
bacteria undergoing chemosynthesis. The deep sea equivalent to photosynthesis.
Baby out here smacking shit.
The footage you're seeing now was taken by an unmanned Japanese submersible called Kaiko in 1996.
What did he say?
Having reached a depth of 10,897 meters, it marked the deepest dive for an unmanned submersible at the time.
That's pretty
Its
cool.
goal was to sample bacteria from the mats that Picard and Walsh had observed nearly 40 years earlier. They
They're probably
found
hella
that a number of
preserved.
these bacterial species appeared to be obligately barophilic,
The hell you
meaning they thrived under high environmental pressures, proving that
sense.
the idea that life could only exist in more moderate conditions was flawed. But in 1990,
Bro, all humans do is like figure some shit out. They like they like think of some shit and they're like, yeah, this is it. This is correct. And then, you know, like 20, 30, 40 years later and they're like, "Oh, all right. This was wrong only because we know more stuff now." But then everyone's pissed off like in your current era about some shit that no one knows what the fuck they're actually talking about. Everything is, you know, kind of guesswork until it's proven wrong.
Kaiko
Nothing's ever
returned to the
proven right.
Challenger Deep and stumbled upon
'Cause we're all
more
just
complex
guessing.
life. Hierondelia gigas, a gigantic amphipod species. This discovery posed a bit of a mystery. The extreme pressures of the deep sea cause calcium carbonate that makes up the shells of amphipods and many marine animals to
Amphipod.
dissolve more readily in water,
Look at that fucking
leaving their
fish, dude.
soft bodies vulnerable. As such, amphipods are not usually found below about 5,000 meters or 16,400 feet. And yet here in Kaiko's lights was a giant amphipod, retaining even its tough exoskeleton. It has since been found that they protect their shells using a form of aluminium armor, using chemicals in their gut to extract aluminium ions from the seafloor mud while they forage for food.
That's crazy.
In their role as detrivores, these amphipods occupy a key role in the ecosystem. They act as a cleanup crew, possessing enzymes that are able to digest even wood.
Baby smacking?
In more recent times, remote submersibles have caught yet more oddities of the Mariana Trench in their headlights. Among the most abundant inhabitants are the holothurians, sea cucumbers, like the remarkable sea pig with its ring of feeding tentacles that it uses to sift through the mud and grab onto food. Some scientists believe that Picard's fish was, in fact, a sea cucumber, for it is thought that fish are unable to survive where the pressure is so great that it would dissolve the bones of any vertebrates.
Why would they say that now when they've just been proven wrong prior? You know, like, oh, we found life. Now it's like, oh, there's no way fish could live down here.
Of 8,000 meters, or
We got proven wrong.
26,200 feet. Still 2 kilometers above the Challenger Deep.
Just haven't seen it
The
yet.
Mariana snailfish, discovered in 2014, yet given the scientific name Pseudoliparis swirae to commemorate Sub-Lieutenant Herbert Swire from the HMS Challenger.
That's pretty beautiful.
But snailfish and amphipods are not the only oddballs found in the trench. Gigantic xenophyonophores grow to be 20 centimeters in diameter, yet consist of only a single cell.
What?
Predatory tunicates called sea squirts anchor their bodies to the sides of canyons in wait of passing prey, while deep-sea hatchetfish use bioluminescence to blend in with their surroundings. While only glimpses of these otherworldly organisms have been recorded, their abundance goes to show that life will always find a way to survive.
Oh my god, that's so scary.
Even when faced with the intense challenge of living at the heart of the ocean's underworld. Despite all the expeditions and the footage that's been gathered,
Baby's like, yes.
we have still only just begun to dip our toes into the hidden world of the Mariana Trench.
Knowledge. We must go
deeper. It is likely that many new species await discovery and will help us piece together the puzzle of how animals can survive such extremities.
What the hell was that?
Researching the Mariana's microorganisms could lead to vital breakthroughs in biomedicine and biotechnology, and shed light on the story of life's emergence on planet Earth.
I'm convinced we're gonna find some weird ass shit down there.
Are within
keep going deeper.
Of human-driven destruction.
There you go, plastic
Already
bag, like a Walmart bag.
In a place we
Terrifying.
scarcely understand. Who knows what vital discoveries might vanish before we come to understand their importance.
It's deep, but it's not deep enough.
This portion of the video is sponsored by
Thanks, NordVPN. Alright. Wasn't bad. Pretty terrifying. I wouldn't want to go down there. I'd probably drown. It was deep and shit. Bro, I'll see you guys later.